Hi everybody. Today we're going to be talking about gallium. Do you even know what gallium is? Gallium is an element, and you can hold it in your hand. It's a metal. You can hold it in your hand and it will melt right in your hand. Kind of like Peggy's heart melted for me when she first saw me. Oh, anyways, I'm wearing these glasses because earlier I was playing around with this and it had melted on the counter, so I tried to scrape it off, and when I did, it flicked it and almost flicked some in my eye. So if you are to try playing around with this gallium at home on some canvases and whatever, wear some glasses. Preferably safety goggles with the sides on there too, but I can't find any safety goggles in our garage, so I'm going to be really careful. And as you can see here, this is kind of how it melts. So, but what I'm going to do is go put it in some hot water and speed things up. So let's go check it out. Alright, so here we go into the kitchen, and I've already got one right here in this little metal cup, and this is where I spilled some, and then I tried to scrape it off and it flicked back at me. So you can see some of this is still liquid because it's still kind of warm. So this is some hot water. I'm just gonna dip it in there. Alright, Bobby, that should be good. I don't know why I keep talking like Hank. Oh, because I look like him too. Alright, that's hot. Whew. You can see it's really melted there. Alright, let's take it into the office and dry it off here. I don't know why I keep wanting to call this barium. It's gallium. The barium, we're not talking about your exes, people. We're not going to bury them. That's another episode. Okay, so let's check it out. So I'm going to pop the lid on this carefully, and I'm going to do this number. Okay, there it is. So now, whoa, okay, that looks really, oh, okay, that didn't work out so good. Darn it. Okay. That didn't work. Well, crap. Let's try something else. I gotta get this to work, Bobby. Bobby, it's your fault, dang it. Okay, let's get this going on here, Bobby. Alright. The problem is, Bobby, we didn't let that cool before we went to working on it. Let me grab a popsicle stick here up on my new little counter. Oh, Bobby. Oh, here we go. I want that to cool down on there. Wow, that looks really cool. But will it stick? That's the question. It is so cool looking when it's melted like that. It looks just like the Terminator 2 movie. That's what it reminds me of. Well, you can work with it for a while, that's for sure. Come on, yeah. Whoa. Let me flicking it off there. It has some weird stuff going on there. Really hard to work with. So I was not anticipating that. I was anticipating it to hit this here and look like that. But the canvas did not soak it up like that cardboard did. So I'm gonna let this dry and see if it's going to stick on there. Alright, I got out the hair dryer, so let's cool it off slightly. Woo! Don't blow off there, people. Oh man, it's already starting to blow around. So it said online that this stuff's safe to work with. It's like, yeah, right. Okay, let's get this thing drying from a distance. No. Okay, so it's still wet on here and it's taking forever to cool down, but I just totally dig these patterns you can make with this stuff. If you're not even doing fluid art, it's just fun to play around with. I'm gonna let this dry though, and then I'm going to try to do a pour with it somehow and just see what happens. I have no idea what's gonna happen. Stay tuned. Okay, so I had to put this thing in the freezer because apparently when you melt it, it has a really hard time drying. Look at that. It's been in there for probably 7 minutes and it's still, you can tell it's still moving around there. So I'm gonna put it back in. Oh, this is gonna be fun though. Okay, I'll keep you updated. La, 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 la. Okay. All right, so this finally... Oh. Bobby, I think it finally dried. That's awesome. Okay. So it is dry. It's still cold. I don't want to hit any of these things over here because they'll go flying off. So I was gonna mix some some black, because there's the black, silver, and a little red. So let's get to mixing that. And then I thought about some white too. So gonna go a little Floetrol here. Just, if you can see that. That might be too much, but a little glue. The reason I use the glue, I know that sounds weird to some, it acts as a binder to the paint and it really helps the flow of everything. I wonder if I should do the other one too, the other color. Sure, go ahead. So I don't have any real stringent recipe that I go by. I just kind of put it in there, throw some paint in. If I need a little more of something, I add a little bit more. If it's too thick, I thin it down with a little Floetrol or even a dash of water or whatever. That's right, just a dash here and a dash there. And that makes it really scientific. Just like we're using elements today. Bobby, what's an element?
It's the element of surprise, Dad.
Thank you, Bobby. That didn't even sound like Bobby. It sounded like Bobby with a sore throat. Oh, that one's got a bunch of goo on it. So I try not to put in too much paint. I try and eyeball enough paint to where it looks like it will mix and have good opaqueness. So I'm not sure on how I'm gonna do this. You guys need to help me here. When you're at home watching, you need to go, no, or yes. I was thinking about pouring over all of it. And then I was also thinking about not doing that and pouring. I'm having some back problems tonight. That's why I haven't made so many videos lately. So I was thinking of pouring it gently around here. And I'm almost thinking gently is the way to go. Oh, and I forgot to explain, there's the glue and the Floetrol. The Floetrol is a paint conditioner. And you don't have to use the Floetrol, because I know a lot of you comment that, well, we can't get Floetrol here in our country. And that's just the weirdest thing, but you don't have to use Floetrol to get the cells that you want. You can use glue, and back then I used to use a lot of glue. And there's always big discussions over glue and PVA. PV is in Victor. And the PVA is more of a high quality product for doing high quality paintings. I'm just teaching you how to do craft style paintings. And I try to come up with new ideas. So you guys can kind of go off on your own and do your own thing. So I think I will try and pour gently. So let's get my silicone in here. So 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. That is it. That's all you need to get the cells you want. If you start going more than that, it's going to break down and it will look not so good. So just barely stir it. All right. So, I'm going to put the black up against. I'm going to put the black up against the chrome looking stuff here, the gallium, whatever. I seriously don't have any clue what I'm doing, because this is a first, of course, and y'all at home are going like, what is he doing? He's lost his mind. He's lost his bloody mind. Okay. I'm gonna do a little red in there. Whoa, okay. Well, if you want some on there, go. Oh, it's starting to come off. See that? So, I don't know how those are going to work. Whoa, hey now. Getting jiggy with it. Sorry, that was an old 90s term. I guess I'll pour some of the white out here too. Okay, so let's get some of that in there. Get some red in there. Just kind of Cool. So it's kind of burying it anyways. Oh, that looks really cool. I'm just gonna do this because I know I'm gonna need it out there. Just throw it on there, people. Just throw it on there. I probably should have got some gloves. Uh-oh, see, it's starting to fall off now. I wasn't really gonna do this. I'm gonna throw some more red down here. And some black. Come on now. There we go. Okay, I think that's good for that. Wasn't planning on getting this dirty. But that's okay. It's worth it. Okay. So I'm gonna take a couple little popsicle sticks here and just go hit those edges real quick. Make sure you get all your edges going on. Oh, come here. I can use the white too. I don't want to use too much white though, because it might look funny. Just a tad. You want to just barely touch it. Just like that. Just like that. A little tree in there. Get yourself a little tree right in there. Oh, a little more over here. Oh boy, there's a lot over here. Sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes you can't tell. So, now let's hit it with the heat gun, or embossing tool as it's called. And this will just raise up some of those cells. Oh, hold on one second. That needs to kind of be swiped out there. Oh, cool. It's kind of running down from the gallium. Get it out of there a little bit. So basically the heat gun or embossing tool is not to dry it. It's just to bring up some of the cells A lot of people think, oh, he's drying it. No, it's not for that. Let's get a little bit of swipe action in there. I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't swipe over here. Just the hair. Just a little bit. So you get a little cells in there. But I don't want to. I'm going to leave it. Because I don't want it to blend in. It's already starting to blend in there. The more you move it around, the more it all blends together. So I think it's cool like it is. And what I was going to do is take this rag and just top those off just a hair. Man, I don't want to blend in the colors. You're probably thinking, how did I come up with this idea? I was just trying to think of something really outside the box. And I was like, don't they have like different metals and things that, you know, melt and all kinds of stuff like that? Okay, that one is definitely not on there good. So it will have to dry all with the paint and everything. I don't want to bring up more paint. I'm trying to get rid of the paint, not bring it up. Oh, you know what I need is Q-tips. You were probably thinking that. I know, I can read your minds. I can read your mind. Oh man, it's hard to hold my upper body like that with the old back problems. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it alone and I'm going to go grab a few Q-tips and just kind of clean it up a little bit and then let it dry. And I think that's going to look pretty cool. It looks like veins all through there. All right, so this is without me getting the Q-tips. I'm still in the room without the Q-tips. So if you can see here, some of these design patterns in there. So it's really three-dimensional. Let me get down here and show you even more. If I can hold the camera steady. So you can see it sticking up there. I just hope it dries all right. Regardless of what happens, this was really fun. And it has sparked some new ideas in my little brain. All right. So I took the Q-tips and I went around. It's really glossy right now. I went around and I scrubbed the top of those very, very carefully. And you can see the vein of metallic there sticking way up. Well, that light's really bright. And you can see it comes all the way down there. Let me try and get an overhead of it. So it basically, I like to say basically, it has a vein through there. And man, how cool would that be if it was gold too? If you did ones in like gold and stuff. But this is going to turn out cool. I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to let it dry for a long time. and then come in and coat it really good with a lot of coats of gloss and just plaster that sucker down. So we are back in the studio here, and we are going to clean this off, and we're going to coat it with some Liquitex professional grade gloss varnish. And that's really going to bring out those colors, because a lot of people ask me, oh no, why is my painting so dull looking? It doesn't look like it does when it's wet. That's because the glossy paint dried and it doesn't have this coating on top of it. So when you coat it, it really brings out those colors again and everything. So first, we're going to clean it with some isopropyl alcohol. And this is the 91% instead of the 83, I think. So I'm just going to dab a little on there, not a ton. Close that back, and we're gonna just lightly, ever so lightly, clean it. Ooh, without dragging off the metal pieces. And again, this is just for experimentation. I would be really careful trying the metal. If you do order gallium from China, it will take a long time to get to your house. It took over 2 weeks for mine to get there. It's not very much money, but again, you know, if this were to get warm in any way inside your house, it would obviously melt off the canvas. This is just for fun. I've always wanted to see what metal would look like on it. You could get really creative if you know somebody that actually makes metal and stuff like that. I mean, heck, you could put gold on it. And make sure this is dry. So when you put the alcohol on it, it makes it kind of sticky. So just be aware of that. So now we're going to go ahead and do the gloss on it. And I'm just going to start with a couple drops. You don't need very much. Especially, oh, I forgot something. I forgot to tell you about something that I did that I didn't show on camera, because I like to show everything I do on camera. I mean, not everything, but so I went around with a razor blade and I just lightly, ever so lightly, scraped the paint on the sides that got on the sides of this, and there were just little tiny chunks on there. It looks like there's still a little bit on there. I should have got those off before I started this clear coat, but there's just little tiny pieces of paint that were up there, and I went around the little tiny pieces of metal there too and got those so it shines, because if it's buried with paint, it's not going to shine. Nobody's going to see it. So let's get these corners first. And again, you don't need a lot of this clear coat on the start, because I'm going to do 3 coats of it. So you don't want to just put it on real globby. And this is archive quality clear coat. Just so you know, you can, this, once it goes on here, it's really like, I call it bulletproof stuff, because it's so strong. It's like, man, that stuff is on there. Yeah. Let's get that down there without touching it. And then just go ahead and put a few drops on there. Don't put too much on. You just want a few drops here and there, and then just really get to brushing it fast, because it starts to set up really fast. So just get it on there and then come back and what's called laying it out. That's when you lay it out. I'll just flip some on me, my blankie here. You want to just make sure you get it in every little crevice there, and See how I just lay it out like that real smooth? And then that's pretty much it. So this stuff says on the bottle, do not keep doing this, coming over it. So, but I do want to get in there in the little crevices and kind of soak up some of that. You don't want it super heavy. But I do want it heavy enough to where it's going to hold it there on the canvas. But again, it does say don't keep brushing it out, or it will actually leave white streaks on it and make it look kind of filmy in there. So you don't want that. All right, so we're going to let that dry, and it recommends that this dries for 3 hours before you put on another coat. So in 3 hours, we're going to put on another coat and then another coat, because I want this one really glossy. So just a few more. So it kind of goes on differently, so you don't have to put as much on the second and third time, and it keeps getting like that the more you put on. You can put as many coats of this on as you want. Whatever your desired glossiness is, go for it. Just do it. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? But again, you don't want to glob this stuff on, because I've done that before and that doesn't work out that great, just like I did right there. I mean, I always contradict myself, you know that? I say something and then I do the opposite. So get that other coat on there, spread that out, and hold it up like that. So I'm just going to put it to the sides of this thing so I don't get too much stacked up in the middle there. One thing you want to do with this is try and at least cover everything. Try and get a coat on of everything. If you don't worry about it. You can come back and do another coat, but you know, you got to wait 3 hours between. So I don't want to keep brushing it out, and I'm gonna let that, I'm gonna just get my brush kind of empty over here, and then kind of just come in here and dab that out a little bit. You guys are seriously, I can just tell from here your brains are going, ah, man, I know a friend that does metal, and I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Or you're like, I wonder if a soldering iron would make that and stick better. It might. I don't have a soldering iron, so you guys might be able to try that. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to come back and then show you the finished final awesomeness. Okay, so this is the third and final coat. So let's get our just gloss that on there. And I can tell I'm putting on less, but it's going on thicker. And then stick it right back down there. Just a little more there. Whoops. That metal stuff, it gets everywhere. And like I said, be careful. Wear eye protection if you're working with metal, because there's little tiny shards and they will shoot right back up in your eye. I had that almost happen to me. It was right under It was like right on my eyelid, so. And again, this is supposed to dry 3 hours in between coats. I'm gonna put just a hair more there. Get that nice and glossy. Just a hair more there. I just want this sucker to be nice. Get this out a little bit. I don't want it to dry with a filmy look inside of there. So there's what it looks like up close. The lights are really bright in here, so it's hard to see it really. I can kind of tilt it. So here it is, all dry, and I really love it. I think you guys are gonna love doing a project like this, and I really hope you get to try one out. This was so cool. I love some of the cells over here and the design. I love the metal design. Hopefully it won't get too hot and just melt right off the wall. Okay, hope you had fun, and don't forget to subscribe. I kind of changed around my studio a little bit. I took all the waves out from back there, and I got me some new speakers too, some Polk audio speakers. They are amazing. Then I got my wolf up there, got the horse over there, but the 2 horses up above there, I took that Christmas Day in 2015, just right around the corner in our neighborhood here.